Okay, so this is what is very important, right? So what is that the most important thing that needs to be done today? Okay, so that is something that you need to think, and then it goes on iterations, because you cannot deliver everything at this point of time. Okay, so that is the strategic thinking is really important thing, and then you come to communication leadership. So a lot of times you are in ambiguity. Okay, so if you are a if you are a team lead, okay, if you are a product lead, or if you are a technology lead or a solution architect or somebody, right? So you are given a clear instruction that okay, let's do this, right? But if you look at the product manager's position, so there we are the ones who are actually taking the decision whether to do something or not. And we have most of the times we will not have a lot of data which helps us take the clear decision whether to do this or don't do this, right? So what we have to do is we have to lead there. Okay, so most of the times you can go for consensus and you can talk to people and you can try to understand their problems and try to address that, but the final stand should be yours. You are going to say yes or no, go or no go, right? So that is what is communication and leadership. So that how can you do without hurting many in the room is something that is a trick, right? So you can be a leader and nobody is happy with you, right? So that is not going to help, right? So you have to be a leader where everybody um, understands why you are saying so and what is the intention behind it, right? So why you are taking such decisions. So that communication, how you are going to do is something really important, and you have to take care of that. Okay. And the second, and the last thing is data driven decision making. So this is obvious, like whenever you are taking decisions, so it cannot be based on gut feeling. I think it will work. No, it will not work. So unless you have at least some data backed or some reasoning backed decision, right? So you cannot just take a decision saying that, okay, fine, it will work. My sixth sense says it will work. No, that will not work, right? So at least you should have some reasoning, some logical reasoning that, okay, because of this reasons, so it may work, right? So these are the core product management skills that you should have, right? So now let's look into these things. So have you done any strategic planning, right? Have in your career anytime have you taken any decision like, okay, first we will do this, next we will do this, and after that we'll go further? So have you done this kind of planning anytime? Just to give an example, right? So you guys can speak out.
Like for test management, we have done plenty of times. Like, how do we start?
Mm.
From the requirement phase till like how many resources would we be needing? What skill set do we require? So all of that, and like what KPIs do we want to monitor throughout the process? So all of that we have done for test.
Yeah, yeah. So then you clearly have at micro level, you understand that what is planning, what is the roadmap, right?
Yeah.
So basically, we do resource planning today, and tomorrow we are going to have them hired and give them tasks, and finally we know what is the output that we are going to achieve by end of this year or the end of this PI or whatever, right? So that is kind of a strategic thinking, right? So we have done it at micro level. Only thing is we have to scale it at macro level. That's that's a thing which is required. Okay. So at everybody has a strategy. Like, so it is not something new. Like everybody um, divides their task, a larger task, into smaller tasks, and they plan and they do one after the other, and then they will achieve something as a goal, right? So that division of things and that the path that they take, right? So that is nothing but strategy, right? So, but at macro level, how you are going to do that is something which is important, right? Because at micro level, you have very little stakes, right? But at macro level, when you see the impact is high, and the stakes are also high, right? So then you have to be really careful how you are going to plan things, right? So I will tell you one of the example where a lot of times it happens so that suppose I wanted to launch a successful product, or I wanted to launch myself as a influencer, right? Then I would say like, okay, fine. When I get 2,000 followers, I will do X activity. When I get 3,000 followers, I will do Y activity. And when I reach 5,000 followers, I will do Z activity, right? So that is a plan, right? But most of the people get confused with this with strategy, right? So suppose this is nothing but a goal, right? So the parts you are telling like, okay, if this happens, I will do this. If this happens, I will do this, right? That is a goal. You are setting a goal. So normally people can get confused with goals to strategy, right? So what you have to do is you have to clearly distinguish like, okay, I have to reach there, right? So I will celebrate when I reach there, but what is that I have to do to reach there is the action that you need to take, right? So that is the strategy part. Strategies part is not about setting the goal and just keeping quiet, right? This can be done by anybody, right? You can tell like, okay, let's reach 1K followers, or let's reach 10,000 downloads. Okay. So then I will tell like, by March, we will have 5,000 downloads. By November, we'll have to 6,000, 7,000 downloads, something like that. I can give a plan, right? And then I tell like, okay, I have a great strategy to reach 10,000. What is the strategy there? So there is no strategy. So there are numbers, and you are setting the goals, right? But the strategy comes when you know that, okay, to reach 5,000, what am I going to do? What are the levers that I am going to pull? Whom and all I am going to contact? What is that I am trying to do, right? So you take actions, that becomes a strategy, right? It's in a simple words, right? So that is where you tell like, okay, fine. Don't get confused with goals as strategy. So write down the actions. Okay. Now let's look into this part. Okay. So this is different parts of product life cycle stages, right? So first thing is discovery. So where it's an idea phase, right? So you have to discover the problem that you are trying to solve. Okay. So then it comes to development, and then it comes to launch, and then growth, maturity, and decline. Okay. So if you see any product, it goes through this cycle. Okay. So at discovery phase, you will not have a lot of customers, and you will be um, struggling to find out what exactly would be customers need, all those things, right? So you are just formulating the app or solution that customer would like to have. Okay. So that's a discovery phase. So once you understand the clearly that, okay, this will be beneficial for the customer. So then you start and you validate it. Okay. At the discovery phase, you also validate it. Okay. Yes, this is a need of the customer. Okay. So all that is done at discovery phase. Once that is done, then you start development. Okay. And then you go for launch. So, and then it goes into iterations, and always there will be development going on with launches and all that. So then you have a phase where growth phase will be there. Okay. So that means once you launch, people may start liking it or may not start liking it, right? So this is a place where it goes tricky. Okay. So then it will be a growth phase. Growth phase is where uh, people start talking about you, engaging with you, with your product, right? And they refer your product. So all these things happens at growth phase. Okay. So then it reaches a maturity phase where people are bored about your product. They no more like it, right? So they are like, okay, enough is enough kind of thing. And then there will be a decline stage. Okay. So let me show you this part 1 second. Let me see. Okay. So let me take the graph, right? This is about time. Okay. This is about sales, profit, or any numbers that you say like, okay, I'm growing. Okay. So it can be revenue, it can be number of downloads, or it can be anything. Okay. So normally the graph goes like this, and then it will go like this, and then it will go like this, and then it will go into growth path, and then it will settle here, and then it will go into decline. This is a very common growth, right? Here it is about introduction. You are introducing a product to customer, right? There will not be very high amount of users, right? The number of downloads will be less, and you are struggling to get one after another and all that. Okay, and then you have at this point where you feel like, okay, fine, so we are launching, right? So, but all of a sudden we don't know what happens. It will doom. Why? This place is called as chasm. Okay, so chasm is a deep pitfall where you feel like you are growing, but at this point, for whatever reasons, you cannot move beyond this point, and you die over here, or your product die over here, right? So if you can cross this, and your customers are still talking about you, and it takes on growth path, so that is a successful product, right? So if you have good PMF, product market fit, that's when you will reach this growth path. Yes, Ashwin.
So, as you said that there could be a sudden pitfall in the product growth. So, are there any common reasons like why does this happen generally?
Yes, right. So when we introduce our product, okay, what will happen? We'll be so much excited to have customers, right? So then possibly we will have free product demos, and we'll be giving at a price which people are okay to pay, right? But this is not a sustainable thing, right? So after a while, you feel like, okay, this is not sustainable. So now the customer may want it, but he's not ready to pay higher price because there is no product market fit. So the value that he is ready to pay is not um, worth the price that you are asking for, and where the product is sustainable or the business is sustainable. Okay, these are the some of the reasons, right? So, and then people are, and it is actually a forced market fit. So you are giving something for free, or you are encouraging through some kind of referrals, or uh, some kind of gifts or whatever, right? So that is where they're sharing, and they're happy to share, but finally they are not using it. Okay, so suppose you ask somebody to refer an app to for 50 rupees or something like that, they'll refer happily, right? They will get that money, but eventually after your referral, whether this person is using it or not is a question, right? So there will be adoption, but no engagement, and people will not be paying for what you ask, right? So that is where the chasm takes place. Okay, people will not be ready to pay what you're asking for. So that's where it happens. So if they are happy to pay, okay, whatever you ask for, and you can make a sustainable business, okay. So initial part of it is like you might be burning a lot of money and time, right? So the sustainable business model where people ready to pay what you are asking for, and growth, right? So people are adopting it, engaging it, and talking about it. Okay, they are very happy about it. So that's when this will happen. Okay. Suppose I will tell you like you assume that people are accepting a product. Okay. So because you have found their need and people are downloading it and all that, right? But suppose let's take an example of like suppose you are building a kind of a health app. Okay. So where you are talking about health. Okay. You are telling like, okay, do yoga or whatever, right? So they feel like you have built this product and initially you gave some kind of discounts or whatever, and your per hour charge is about 100 rupees, $100. Okay, suppose something like that, where people are ready to pay this much amount, but this your trainer charges is about $1,000. Okay, and you are taking a hit of $900 from your pocket. Okay. So you
Okay.
bear this loss for some time, and after that you told like, okay, fine, now give me $1,000. So the customers will vanish. They tell like the value that you are providing and uh, the money that I can pay is $100, or so I am good with this. I have alternatives to this where which are possible without your product, right? So that is where everything fails. Okay. So now this is the introduction phase or initial phase, and then you have growth phase, maturity phase, and decline phase, where people are either bored with it or there is some other product which is giving a better solution or all that. So now let's look into this with respect to the customer enthusiasm. Okay. So here there is a person called as technophile. Okay. Who are the different customers who will be there? There is something called as technophile. Technophile is, let's take an example of Google glasses. Okay. So how many have you bought Google Glass? No, right? But
Not yet.
yeah, not yet, right? So
Not yet.
basically it
Uh,
was there in the market like sometime around 2014, 15, those timeline, right? So
yeah.
I have seen some of the people have bought it. Okay. Some are very tech enthusiasts and all that, right? They have bought this Google Glass. So they are called as technophiles. So whatever that comes into the market, new, they will adopt it right away. Okay. So they want it to be there, but you cannot consider that as a success. You cannot consider that as a product market fit. Okay. There is only very thin percentage, like 10% of the people in the overall market segment that you have, they are technophiles. Okay. So that means whatever you release, they are ready to able to adopt. Okay. So you have to go from there to the second section, which is called visionaries. Visionaries are like where they understand the long-term thing and they buy a product. Okay. So that's the second section. So from this section, you need to move to visionaries. Okay. So then it comes the third section, which is nothing but early adopters. Okay. So then you have majority and then late majority, and then you have conservationists, and then you have laggards. Okay. So in this growth cycle, so all these people comes into picture, right? So you are going to touch with every person here, right? These are the different kinds of people who exist in the market. Okay. So if you look at these things, right? So technophiles are where they are very early adopters. So they try out anything. They are adventurous and they try out everything. Like I have a friend whose name is Vikas, and I know him that he is a very active person, and he joined. I have seen him joining 2019. Okay. So that's a section of people who will adopt to product anytime. Okay. You introduce anything, they would like to try it out. Okay. So, and then you have somewhere around 2020, 2021. you would see like people who have seen somebody working out and those things, right? So those people, by gaining some trust, they would join here. Okay. So 2022 is where 2022 or 2024, where I would say like this here you are going to join because you have seen the results from others. You are into late majority or conservationist, right? Where you wanted to see lot of proof. You are absolutely aware of the value that it is giving and all that, right? So only when you are confirmed, then you are going to join here. Okay. So that is how the adoptions takes place, right? So initially, if suppose you can take an example of smartwatch, right? So smartwatch was introduced in somewhere around 2017-18, right? So how many have you bought smartwatch at that point of time, or fitness thing, fitness strap, right? How many of you have done that?
I have got in 2000, I think in early 2010, there was a Me Fitness band was I got that. Then I moved around in 2018 to 19 to smartwatches. So I used that earlier. But yes, my needs were growing and like technology was upgrading. So I am a believer. I believe in the recent technology as much as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So then
So
you
I
are
was
actually falling in technophile thing, right? So you have a tendency to adopt it faster, right?
correct.
So but not like many, right? So a lot of people wait and watch whether it is working. They will have their own doubts and all that, right? So that's what happens. So let me tell you this. Okay, this is how it looks like. Okay. Do you have any questions here? Like you have to understand these kind of terms because you should know where you are standing. Okay, as a product, what is your market position? Where are you standing? And what is next coming up? So have you hit the late majority or early majority? You have to identify that. Okay. So after maturity, you have to give something that excites the users. Like so, there is something called as perceptual mapping. Okay, you can note it down. There is something called perceptual mapping. Okay, so this is a kind of thing that you can try out. Like you can see like any what is the position as on today, and what will excite my user, right, to a new position. So so what is the feature that we are giving at today, and what we can add so that my user's perception will be uh, better, and where it will help us to reach uh, more or build a perception that okay, fine, these guys are doing better or something like that, right? So if you see the story of Starbucks, in 2008, they were about to bankrupt. So then the revival happened in 2011. So they renovated all the stores, right? So at 2008, the people were telling like, okay, Starbucks is over. Like they have old. It started looking old, right? So it's the same thing. Right? When it comes to you can see the example of barbecue nation, right? So that it's the same thing, right? So it is one of the food chain which was very much appreciated in the year 2008, 9, 10, or until 2015 also, right? But now barbecue nation became like a, cha- a- any other food chain, right? So what happens with the digital products? Okay. So I have shown you that that graph which was given, right? So if you see digital products, how is it going to function? Okay. So digital products, how is it going to function, right? So it will be like this, and then it will go into growth path, and then there will be some kind of maturity, and then there will be sudden decline. So this is introduction phase, this is growth phase, and this is maturity phase, and this is decline phase. for high-tech products. So this is what you need to understand. Like it will not be like a regular products where you have slow adoption and then something like this, right? So if you are introducing a high-tech product, initially you will not have a lot of customers. So you are struggling to find them and all that. But once it gets adopted, so the growth will be quick. And suddenly it gets matured and it will fall because there will be a new technology which will be available. Okay, so then the old technology will be suddenly obsolete. So
We
this is
can make
happening.
an example with the chat GPT on this.
Yes,
Earlier, the
exactly.
market was
So
having an, yeah,
ChatGPT now it is DeepSeek, right?
yeah.
Whatever, right? So that's the way we can see it. Like Nokia, right? So it had a good growth and all that. So some bad decisions, their fall was like this decline, right? So on high tech products, this is what happens. Okay, so there will be a lot of time taking here at this point, and then it will go into growth path, and then suddenly it falls. Okay. Is this clear? Do you have any doubts? We can actually move on. So the first phase is discovery phase, when then we go into development, and then we go for launch, and then growth path and maturity, and then there will be decline. So in discovery phase, how are we going to do about it? Like, yeah, you can check this out, right? So in discovery phase, so you generally start with a minimum viable product, right? So you cannot have a final product, but it's a kind of an hypothesis that you have that people will like this product, this kind of solution, and you will start prototyping, and then you test that prototype, and then you take feedback, and then you realize that okay, this is something that we can launch now, and you will launch it. Okay, and then people will adopt it, and then you will have some more feedback from the users, and then you adopt that, and then you give new features and add to existing features. That's how it happens. Okay. So, uh, do you want me to explain further, like in on minimum viable product? So, do you understand with minimum viable product? Okay.
Can you just add a bit with an example if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. So, minimum viable product can be as simple as this, right? Where uh, I have seen an example where suppose a person is trying to build a factory which will create uh, a locket with a dog locket. Okay, so that's what is the product. Okay, a locket which is wrapped around the dog's neck, and with a nameplate and all that, right? So he wanted to buy some scrap aluminum, and he wanted to build this, and he thinks that it is going to be sold like anything. Okay, and the inputs are very cheap, and the price can be very high, and we are going to have super duper margins, and this is going to fly. Okay, that is a hypothesis. Okay, now you have to prove this hypothesis, right? So what can be minimum viable product? Without product, you just make a post with a random name saying that this product is available. Are you interested to buy? Right? That's the cheapest minimum viable product that you can make to see the interest. How is that? How is that people are liking it, right? So I was in Philips somewhere around 2019. We did a quick testing where I was working on clipper, hair clipper. Um, we wanted to understand whether people would like this product or not, whether people will be excited about this product or not. So what we did is we created a one page, we created a Facebook advertisement with this, which is of two variants where we tell like, okay, we have this, do you want to buy it or show interest to buy it? right? So that is a product that we created. So at that point of time, the actual product was not in production at all. So it is just to see how
So
much in, yeah,
yeah, so the product is like experimenting a product. Is
yeah,
it like
product is
that?
like, yeah, it is, yeah, it is about the problem that you have in hand, how you are going to solve that problem with minimum cost, right? How you understand that customer will like it or will not like it with a minimum cost, right? So that is what is a minimum viable product for me, right? So you cannot build the whole product and go to customer and tell like, okay, do you like it? You may not like it, right? So first thing, so I can give you another relatable example where one of the product managers came to me and told that we need to have a mechanism where when we are releasing every product feature, we need to have a release notes in our mobile application. Okay. So how can we build it? We can build a big notification service and we can have a cloud person working on it. And whenever there are small changes, any release, so we can push that change to cloud and we can have an API and we can have everything integrated together and made it as a 3-month feature, right? That is possible. Or otherwise, what we can do is as a minimum viable product, we can simply create a page and tell that, okay, my last version was XYZ. Okay. And then you can see that every time you are actually rolling out a new mobile application into the market, so you update that text again and again, right? So if the frequency of mobile application development is frequent, from there you understand that how many people are watching it, actually how many people are checking that page at all. So if there are more people looking into this kind of things, then you can add sophistication to that page. Like you can make UI better, you can add features like where um, you add news feed into it. Whatever feature that you want to add, you can add later. Right. First thing is whether people are interested into this kind of feature or not is something that you need to understand. So for that, you should not spend a lot of money. Okay, you should not burn a lot of resources. First, you understand that, okay, fine. At best, what I can give to try out to understand the customer feedback. So that is about minimum viable product.